Hello and welcome to opening day, because by the time you see this, it will be opening day. We're still on Wednesday night here, but we are so close to opening day. I'm wearing my Cubs shirt. I got my Cub hat. The 25th anniversary of the home run chase, I drug out my Sammy Sosa 98 Cub mobile.
I love it. Very cool.
My wife and I, she's a Cardinal fan, so we're going to have our annual 8 months of fighting, and I'm leaving when I'm a lawyer and everything, because we are a house divided. I brought out this bat is very special to me because a tree got struck by lightning, and I went and I took the tree and I carved a bat out of it with a butter knife, and then I hit a home run in Wrigley Field that shattered the clock above the scoreboard. And in the end, I married Glenn Close. So,
I think you might have a lawsuit on your hand. Somebody might stole your story.
Anyway, I am so pumped for opening day. But before we get into that stuff, let's remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You can contact us through onecard1cub1beer@gmail.com. Subscribe to our page by clicking on the icon at the bottom right. Support us through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com and just search One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. Remember, we are doing a monthly trivia. We've got a contestant lined up for next week, and we've got one lined up for May. So we've got two lined up who are going to challenge JJ and myself. We know both of these guys, and boy, let me tell you something. Dan Rutledge, next week, what you gonna do when One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer go on you? Yeah.
That's right.
And then in May, Jeffrey Phipps is going to be back. And Jeffrey, I know you got us a lot of viewers. I know people tune in to see you. But do you really want all those people to tune in to see you get your butt handed to you? Absolutely not. But you tell them to watch anyway. So I'm pretty good at trash talking.
I love it. Sad days for you, Phipps.
Yeah. But also, I do want to do a shout out to a podcast, a friend of JJ and I. His name is Jeremy Connor. He does a podcast called Divorce or Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage. It's DMDR. And it is just some entertaining stuff. If you go to whatever platform you're using, just type in DMDR or Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, and you're going to find it. And Jeremy does a great job. Sometimes it's kind of serious, sometimes it's kind of funny, sometimes it's kind of goofy, but it's a lot of fun to listen to his podcast. JJ, you want to know what I realized last week when I was editing the show? You said that Lars Nootbaar is getting a candy bar.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
I'm telling you, if Lars Nootbaar's name was John Smith, he would not be getting a candy bar.
He would not be getting the candy bar. No, he would not be.
Anyway, I'm going to try the Lars Nootbaar bar. And what we should do, when his bar come out, we should, because I'm sure we can order these, on the internet. We should get a Reggie bar, the Lars Nootbaar, a Baby Ruth, all these baseball candy bars that are still around. And have a taste test and see which one we like the best. So
I'd like to take it to the streets, where you have it under a thing and the viewer knows which candy bar they're eating, but the person tasting it doesn't. That might be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. Cool. So tell me, what's going on in your world?
Oh, there's only one thing going on in my world. That's baseball, baby. I got the Clydesdales behind me there. Yeah, you see the little, I don't know if you can see the dog or not. I'm getting old. I can't quite see little things anymore. But I tell you what, it's been a long time coming. Springtime is starting to come around. We got 21 hours till the Cardinals play. I think we start at 3. I think are you guys at 1? Isn't it a 1 o'clock game?
Yeah, we started I think 1:15 usually.
1:15. Yeah, I think we're 3:15.
We have rain in the forecast, so I don't know if we're gonna get ours in.
No. Oh my goodness.
Well, let me tell you though, I have I've got the ribs that I'm going to be smoking tomorrow.
Oh,
I've got burgers for the my new Blackstone that I got. I had an outdoor grill last year that was like a knockoff Blackstone, but my dad for Christmas got me a real one, so I'm really excited to use that. So after I edit this, it's going to be sitting on the deck. It's going to be in the 60s, a little cool, but I have a hoodie on, and I'll be watching baseball all day, smoking the ribs, making the burgers, um, just having just having a great time.
well, tomorrow's the day I have to work. And then I got something go. I know, but the games from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to if all the games are played, they'll be going on until about 11:30 that evening. It's going to be great for you baseball fans out there. I cannot wait. St. Louis is supposed to be 66 degrees tomorrow for a
Oh yeah.
March opening day. That's nice. That's nice. You couldn't expect better weather this time of year. And Scott Rowland is going to be throwing out the first pitch. And usually if you have a Hall of Famer, they get to kind of take a victory lap. They try to make the player, include him in more things of celebrating his Hall of Fame induction. So he'll be throwing out the first pitch, and I think that's so perfect. Now, for you fans out there that aren't Cardinal fans or haven't been to an opening day, we have a lot of traditions, and I like the Cubs traditions. You got the ivy on the wall, you got the seventh inning stretch, you got all that going on. I won't be mean. I was going to say they're out of it by September, but I'm not going to do that. It's all about love today. All right. So I'm not going to do that. But in St. Louis, what we have is we have the Red Jackets members, all the Cardinal Hall of Famers that are in the Cardinal Hall of Fame. And as many as it can be there come in, and it's really nice to see all of them. We also have the team comes in convertibles and go around the warning track. And John Hewlett from KC95 announces them, and they get out and everybody applauds them. And opening day is so much fun because the starting lineups come out of the dugouts and then they play the national anthem. I just love that touch that baseball does. That's a neat thing. And some teams have to do 3 opening days where you play your opening day, you go on the road, you play somebody else's opening day. And then sometimes it's 3 you got to go through, but that's the small price to pay. It's a good time. The Clydesdales. When the Brewery owned the team, the Clydesdale was a big thing for playoffs and World Series and opening days. And the Clydesdales always make their way around the ballpark. And you may not know this outside of St. Louis, but in St. Louis, we have a secret weapon that a lot of you don't know about. I'm going to let you in on it. It's the keyboard player. Our keyboard player can play anything, but he can make any song into the Budweiser theme song. You could play Indigata de Vida by Iron Butterfly, dun, 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 and then dun, 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 dun. Every song becomes the Budweiser theme song. So watch that tomorrow. I'll go from Indigata de Vida, then I play some Taylor Swift, boom, ABBA, Budweiser theme song.
ABBA.
So, hey, Dancing Queen, that's a great pop song. I'm not backing down on the ABBA. I like it. I listen to Zeppelin, I listen to ABBA.
I can't listen to ABBA. My ex-wife loved ABBA.
Oh yeah, well I understand that. That's a different story right there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, by the way, okay. So we're starting out the year. Adam Wainwright's on the IL. They call it the IL now. And that's a shame. He might have got the opening day start since it's his last season and he's been with the Cardinals for a long, long time. He hurt himself weightlifting. And so he's due back maybe in about 3 weeks. And Woodruff, who pitched great this spring, will probably be that 5th starter now. I don't know that for a fact, but he is. Opening day starter for the Cardinals this year is Miles Michaelis. And I think that's very appropriate. And right after they named him the starter, they signed him to a 2-year extension. So Miles will play, this is 5th year, and that'll be a 6th and 7th. And I like him being a longtime Cardinal. That's a great one. He reminds me of like an Adam Wainwright type pitcher. I really like him. Of course, he's a lot younger, and he's a good part of the team right there.
Let me say this about Michaelis.
Sure.
Of all the Cardinal players, he has the best personality. He's funny. He's engaging. I just love the guy aside from his pitching. But he's also a very good pitcher. But the personality that he has every time I see him do an interview, he was doing those commercials about the baseball cards a few years ago that were just hilarious. Um, just just probably my favorite Cardinal right now. But anyway, proceed.
Well, that's a good choice. And Miles, as a person with no hair, he's got a great head of hair. I judge
He
a ball
does.
player on his head of hair, and he always dresses up for road trips. Sometimes, if we're going to the West Coast, the Cardinals all dress in Western gear or something, and he goes all out. And you got to have guys like that on the team to keep the morale going. And it's a long year. There's going to be some ups and downs, and I'm glad a guy like that's going to be on our team and help us through the next few years. Well, the big story, um, Jordan Walker is coming north with the team. And I think I've said a couple of times, I think he's going to make it the team, Vince. I think he's going to make the team. Well, there was no denying, and I applaud the Cardinals for doing that. It would be so easy to say we're going to send him down for a little more seasoning and get an extra year on that contract. But they brought him up because I definitely think he makes the team better. And we have 5 outfielders, and if he wasn't coming north, to sit on the bench. So he's going to get to play a lot. I'm very excited to see what this young man has. I have reasonable expectations. I know there's fans that say, oh, this kid's going to hit his rookie year 325 and hit 30 home runs and drive in 100. Well, that would be great. But if he could hit about 270, 275, I'd be so happy. Maybe hit 18, 20 home runs, driving 70. And, and he's just a 20-year-old kid. He's picked number 18 to be. I think that's great because in spring training, I think he was like 67 or something like that. So he's going to be number 18. And a lot of Cardinals that have wore 18, Mike Shannon was number 18. Andy Van Slyke was a famous Cardinal, number 18. I don't know if you remember Luis Alicea. He was like a utility guy. I went to a game. He beat the Dodgers with a home run. And Oscar Taveras, who was supposed to be sort of like a Jordan Walker type of player coming up, our big sensation. And he passed away. And that caused a huge ripple effect through our team because it was a lack of power and a big star, and we ended up trading away a lot of minor leaguers for Jason Hayward from the Braves, and then Ozuna we got from the Marlins. And now looking back, you would think, man, if Traverse was here and we got to keep Alcantara and Zach Gillen, I think was his name. He's a top pitcher too in the league now. I'm not saying
he's opening up for the Diamondbacks, pitching opening day for the
Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
he's a great pitcher.
You served Madison Baumgartner as the opening day starter. That's how good he is.
Yeah. I mean, we were a winning team, although the Braves or you guys, the Cubs, had that dominance over us for those 5 years. I'm not saying we would have been any better, but I think we would have been a stronger team had we had the young pitching. But they weren't the guys they are now back then, and you never know. But because of Traveris, it just made things change. He's the 6th youngest Cardinal to open on opening day. We've had 7 guys under the age of 21 on the opening day roster, and a few of them, Steve Carlton was under 21 when he made the team. Roger Hornsby, Rick Ankiel, and there was a kid in 1909 named Cooney Banks, and he was 16 years old. That's the youngest Cardinal ever to start be on the roster opening day. I just throw that stuff out. I love stats, and when we have something going on, man, I'm just that really excites me. All these statistics and things like that. We also have a couple other rookies. Burleson, the outfielder, who was our top hitter in the minor leagues last year. He made it. He's a left-handed bat. He's going to be probably our 5th outfielder, a DH, first baseman kind of thing. And that young kid who I didn't think was going to make the team, Motter, the third baseman, he's going to be a utility guy. He can play first as well in DH. He kind of looks like Donovan. He's got that hair like Donovan. He hustles. I really like the kid. Of course, Kisner's the backup. And we have, let's see, what else here? Oh, we have a few guys that start out on the DL or IL. DeYoung, Waino, Wilking Rodriguez, who we got in the international draft, and I thought was looking really good this spring. And the shortstop we got from the Indians, Jose Fermin. We got him in the wintertime, and he's hurt right now. So that's kind of that on that. And then I just have a few more notes, Vince. I have well, the starting team, everybody kind of knows that right now. There was a few stories that came out. I didn't know if you were going to address them or not, but Corbin, one of our teams we're playing, especially you guys are open against the Brewers, but Corbin Burns hired Scott Boras just about a week ago. Man, I don't know. It's not looking good for the Brewers keeping.
In other words, he's going to the Yankees or the Dodgers.
Yes. Yeah, he's not coming to us, but I would love
No,
to have him.
I will make a prediction.
Okay.
Mark this. He will be a San Francisco Giant next year.
Oh, is he from that area? What makes you
I don't know.
say that? Oh, okay.
Because the Giants have money to spend. They did not get they went all in for Aaron Judge, and at the end he chose the Yankees. They've got money to spend, and they had that season where they won 108 games and won the division over the Dodgers. Was that last year or 2 years ago? Since then, they've kind of backed into mediocrity. And one of the things that I really love about San Francisco ownership is they are in it to win it. And Burns is going to be the premier free agent next year. And I am sure that the Giants are going to plant their flag right there.
Well, that'd be a good place to go. And they're always a pretty good team. And
now watch him go to the Marlins, but
yeah, that's baseball for you. You just never know. Well, starting day is tomorrow, and there are some great matchups that's going to be out there. Man, I wish I had the MLB channel so I could watch all these games going on at one time. But tomorrow, there's 8 Cy Young Award winners pitching in these 15 games. 21 All-Stars. Out of the 30 starters, 21 of them are All-Stars. And I don't know which one I'm looking forward to the best. The Yankees and Giants. It's Logan Webb and Garrett Cole. That's a great matchup right there. Of course, I'm going to be watching the Cardinals and keeping that kind of a distant eye on the Cubs. But that Giant Yankee game is going to be great. There's a couple other ones too. Oh, Sandy Alcantara versus Max Scherzer. That's another, number one. That's going to be a can't miss game. Is there any more? I know Otani's starting tomorrow. Let's see. I'm gonna pick one more out of this. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Texas and Philadelphia. Jacob deGrom versus Nola. And I like first of all, the first month you get to see these players on new teams that got signed as free agents or in trades. Contreras, we've seen in spring training, but him and Jordan. I'm really excited to see them play tomorrow and see them in the Cardinal uniforms. So anyway, Vince, that's it. I'm excited. I'll talk all day if you let me. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
You mentioned Iron Butterfly, Indigada Davida. Okay. Have you ever seen the Simpsons episode where Bart, they're in church and Bart changes the music to In the Garden of Eden, which is what they got. They just learned to make Inagata Davida. So the organist, who's this elderly lady, starts playing, and they're all singing, "Come take my hand." And Homer whispers to Marge, "Hey, Marge, remember we used to make out to this hymn?" And then it says 17 minutes later, and the pastor says, "Hey, this sounds like it could be rock and or roll."
That's classic.
That's one of the first few seasons of The Simpsons.
I will look for that. Oh my gosh.
It is the funniest thing that I've seen on The Simpsons, and I've seen a lot of funny things on The Simpsons, but that's not Cub news. And I will tell you Cub news. Max will be on a little bit later to do we're going to be doing the AA this year or this month with Down on the Farm. And he was excited. I got a Twitter link from him that said yes, and very excited. And I thought, what, did the Cubs make a trade? No. In Max's world, Nico Horner is his favorite baseball player. Max's world got really good because the Cubs extended Nico 3 years, $35 million, which will begin after this year. So what they did is they bought out his first 2 years of um, arbitration plus his first year of which would have been free agency. It's a win-win for both teams. Horner has been injured every year he's played. Now he hasn't been around very long, but he's kind of like this. Like last year, he ran into an umpire. Just some of the stuff's been a little strange, but it's a little bit of a gamble for the Cubs. They're like, okay, we'll give you what we can. We want to see you prove that you're healthy. It's a win for the Cubs. It's a win for him because he's got 3 years of stability there. And if there is an injury or something, he's still going to get paid. This extension will end when he's age 29, which is the prime year, 28, 29. That's a prime year for you to enter the free agent market. And then he's probably going to get his 20 million a year if he keeps progressing the way he is and becomes an all-star second baseman. So I love the move. The Cubs have been criticized because we really haven't extended anybody of prominence since we did Kyle Hendricks, and that's been 5-6 years ago. So I'm glad that they said, all right, let's work something out before the season starts, get you comfortable. We're going to have you in second. We got our shortstop for the next 7 years or whatever it is. I don't remember how many years it is, but let's solidify the middle of this infield. We've got a Gold Glove shortstop. We've got a second baseman who was a Gold Glove finalist a few years ago at second base. He's been playing shortstop the last couple of years. So very excited about that. Our roster is set, and our starting staff is going to be Marcus Stroman, who will be starting tomorrow against Corbin Burns. Last year, we did defeat Burns on opening day with Nico Horner hitting a home run. So hopefully the things will progress that way. We also have Justin Steele, who had a really good year last year. Jamison Tyone, one of our big free agent pickups from the Yankees. Drew Smiley, who has looked very, very shaky. But we're paying him 2 years, $18 million. So we're going to give him a lot of chance to, and it is spring training. Maybe he's just going to come out here and throw like gangbusters. Who knows? But if spring is an indication, it's like, but I'm going to get into that for a minute. And our fifth starter is Hayden Wisniewski, who won the competition that I put out there, so just
well,
our bullpen. Our bullpen, we have Adbert Alzolay, who's going to, we've tried to make him, he's tried to be a starter in the major leagues the last few years. Last year, we moved him to the bullpen, bouncing around from, AAA to the Cubs, and he seems to have found a home in the bullpen. Javier Assad made the team, and he's going to pitch out of the bullpen. And I think what they're going to do is if Smiley doesn't have if he doesn't have it, I think he's going to get a quick hook, and we'll bring Assad in. And I think that's how we're going to start the first few starts of Smiley to see, is there a real problem here, or was this just free agency and he's going to, or spring training and he's going to be fine. Brad Boxberger, who I think is going to be one of our closers to start the year. We got him for the Brewers. He's been around. He's done some closing. Michael Fulmer, we signed him. He pitched for the Twins last year. He's also done some closing. So I think Boxberger and Fulmer being there, the veterans, they're going to kind of close out games at the beginning of the year, and then we'll go from there. We have Merriweather, Rucker, and Thompson, and Al Leiter Jr., and that rounds out the bullpen. JJ, what is missing out of our bullpen?
A closer?
Well, yeah, I guess so, but
a lefty? Do you have any lefties in it?
That's right. I did not think you would get that. We do not have a lefty in our bullpen. Now, Steele and Smiley are both lefties in the starting rotation. But we don't have a lefty in the bullpen with Brandon Hughes being injured. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But one of the things we do have is Al Leiter Jr. has reverse splits. So he does get left-handers out very much better than he does right-handers, even though he's a right-hander. I think you can get away with it nowadays because we're in an era where there's no longer any loogies. You know what a loogie is? That was a
Help me out.
left-handed one out guy.
Oh, that's right. Every team
Yeah.
had one. Every team had
Every team had one. He just came in to get the one left-hander out, and coming up to the plate would be some
one.
power hitting left-hander, and we bring in the loogie and he gets him out and jerk him right out. Well, you can't do that anymore. You got to face at least three
Three.
batters. So we don't have any left-handers in the bullpen, and we probably won't till Brandon Hughes is completely healed. Catcher, we did surprisingly bring a third catcher. We have Barnhart Gomes and Luis Torrens made our opening day roster, and I'm kind of happy about that. He hit some bombs. He hit really well in spring training. Hit a couple of bombs, and one year, I think it was 2 years ago for Seattle, in 108 games, he hit 15 home runs. So he's got some power, and he has some versatility. He's not just going to be a backup catcher. He's going to be like PJ Higgins was last year, only good. You can spell a lot of different positions. So, and the Cubs traditionally we've carried a lot of three catcher rosters. Even our World Series year, we had Contreras, we had David Ross, and we had Miguel Montero, and so we had three catchers that year. Our infield, we have Nico Horner, Eric Hosmer. Madrigal is looking like he's going to get some time at third base, and I just don't like a guy with no power playing third base in today's game. Miles Mastrobuoni, who we got from the Marlins, the Marlins or the Rays, one of the Florida teams. But anyway, he played for Italy in the World Baseball Classic, and he had a good spring, and he's coming north with us, and I'm very happy about that. We traded Zach McKinstry this year, and McKinstry we got from the Dodgers last year. We picked him up for Chris Martin. We got screwed in that deal. McKinstry didn't hit well for us last year, but I thought maybe it was just like I thought he would be better. Looking at him in spring training, and he's facing a lot of minor league pitching in spring training, he's overmatched. The bat did not play at all. Edwin Rios, the power hitter that played for the Dodgers and has shown a lot of power in his playing time. He's coming north with us, as is Swanson and Wisdom. Our outfield, we have Cody Bellinger, Ian Happ, and we also have Trey Mancini. We're only carrying three outfielders. Well, not really, because Mastrobuoni has played some outfield. Wisdom has played some outfield. So we have players who are like listed as infielders who can also play the outfield. Starting in the on the IL is going to be Suzuki, and I think he's really starting in the rehab. So he should be up soon. Brandon Hughes, who's had some health problems this spring. That's our lefty, and Kyle Hendricks, who we look to be back in about a month. So very excited for the season. We have a lot of optimism. I don't know if there's any Cub fans that are going crazy saying we are going to make a playoff spot. I don't think so. I just think the league is too top heavy. I don't even think that we're going to contend for the division. We may hang around for a while, but in the end, we don't have a Goldschmidt. We don't have an Arenado. We don't have a Contreras. We did, but we don't now. We don't have, a lot of the stuff that the Cardinals do. So I think the Cardinals are certainly the class. And as we're going to find out when I go through our things, after looking at Milwaukee's pitching, I just don't see the Cubs usurping Milwaukee yet. I think we're going to be very close to them. But by golly, every time I look at that starting pitching, I'm like, geez, Diesel, man, those top three are so good.
I don't know if you heard, but Hauser, it just was announced he's starting the season on the DL. So, I mean, I don't wish that to happen to anyone, but that does take them down a notch. I don't know how good their sixth starter is. So we'll see.
We'll see. And, like I said a few weeks ago, there are managers that are good, and a good manager is really only going to win you maybe between 5 and 8 games a year. Baseball is won by the players. the managers can lose games for you if you make the wrong moves, if you exhaust your bench too early, if you don't have a good matchup in the pitching. You managing a game takes a lot of planning, and you have to look at a lot of possibilities how the game would go. And I just think that Craig Counsell is a great manager.
I do too. I really
He's
do.
one of the best. If he was managing a great team like the Dodgers or the Yankees, he'd be doing commercials, you know. But he's managing the Brewers, doing the best that he can, and he's making the playoffs most of the years that he's there. And he's just outmatched because it's a small market team. But I think he's a heck of a manager, and that's kind of why I'm gonna, as we go through our predictions here soon, that's kind of why I put the Brewers ahead of the Cubs, is because David Ross, I think, is getting better as a manager. But last year, Ross lost us a lot of games in the first few weeks because he didn't have the bullpen ironed out when the season started. It was almost like he was flipping cards. Well, let's try this one. Let's try this one. Could have been that he thought, well, we suck this year anyway. We'll be lucky to win 75 games. So I'm not gonna. I'm using this as an experimental year. Could be that, but I hope he takes all these games serious, and I hope Ross has a plan from day one on how he's going to manage this team, how he's going to use the bullpen, use the starting staff, use the reserves, so on and so forth. Because last year was apparent that he was kind of spitballing it at the beginning, and I can guarantee you, Craig Counsell is the one manager in the division who is going to be ready from day one.
I'm a big fan of him as well. I like him because nowadays it's different. Before, you could just say, "Hey, I'm the manager, do what I say." But you got people from all over the world now. You have to know the room. Some players you can kind of ride them and get on them. Some of them we've had so many different managers here, and there's no one technique. Tony La Russa, a lot of people didn't like him, but Tony, he didn't celebrate a win, and he didn't set on a loss too long. It was like, all right, tomorrow we got this game. And the players like playing for him, most of them, and they knew their roles. The bullpen guys knew their roles. They knew if there was a very good chance they were coming in that night. I remember some of the players didn't want to play every day. Famous stories about J.D. Drew. If he had an injury, he didn't hurry back. And then you had Fernando Vina, who wanted to play every single day and would get mad if he wasn't in the lineup. And then you have Whitey Herzog. And Whitey Herzog, I've heard stories about him where he'd go around and talk to the players. How's the kids? How's the wife? He'd want to know, did you have your mind on other things? He'd take his pitchers out fishing and just get to know them and all that. Now, he wasn't a friend, but he cared about his players. I think all of them do, but there's just different ways to do it. I love Whitey's aggressive base stealing and all that. So, but Counsell is a terrific coach. I think the players, you got to keep them motivated over 6 months. You got to be there for him. You got to stand up for him. Bobby Cox used to go out and get thrown out like once a week. That's what he did. But I do think Counsell's probably easily the best manager in our division.
I do too. He just knows what he's doing with players. He just knows what he's doing with strategy. And yeah, I kind of liken it to this. I've got 5 kids, and the reason I've got 5 kids is, well, look at me.
Very nice.
My wife won't watch this, but if she does, she will vomit. But anyway, I have 5 kids, and they're 5 very different kids, and it was apparent I have to relate to them in different ways. I can't have the same relationship that I have with Tabitha with Rebecca, or with Violet like Evelyn, or Max like Tabitha. So you have to kind of figure out how to love this individual based upon who they are. And you know, I wasn't a fan of La Russa, the way he treated the press, but the players all loved to play for him.
Yes, it did.
And he seemed to know what he was doing in that manner. Herzog the same way. There's a few players, like, gosh, who was it
Well, him and
Ron
Keith.
Gant? There was like one player in like a million that didn't like him, or maybe it was Gant that didn't like
Well,
Bruce.
Hernandez and him had some words, but now that we know the rest of the story,
I'm gonna
Augie,
say there was a Whitey
yeah,
was correct there, so
and he didn't throw Hernandez under the bus. He
did not.
actually he got criticized for trading him for Neil Allen, but now we know the rest of the story that Augie wanted him out of there, and he had to do it right now, and that's all he could get. So he took Neil Allen. Nothing against Neil Allen, but oh, that hurt. That really hurt.
Hey JJ, why don't you get out of here? Go get your good-looking son. I'll bring Max on, and we'll do a segment of Down on the Farm. How about that?
That sounds great. I like your style. That's a good idea.
Hey, it's another episode of Brody and Max doing Down on the Farm. And today we are going up to double A. That's a step up from A. That's 2 steps from rookie ball. And we're just 1 step away from triple A. So, Max, give us an overview of the Cubs double A.
So starting with the Cubs AA farm team, they are the Tennessee Smokies, and they play in the Southern League, and they became the Cubs AA affiliate in 2008. They were briefly the Cardinals AA affiliate, I think in about 2006, and they switched over. The rights changed fairly often. But since 2008, they've been the Cubs AA affiliate, although the owner is planning on moving the team back to Knoxville at some point. He said that would happen in 2024. This is the first I've heard of it, but maybe the Tennessee Smokies will become the Knoxville Smokies at some point in the future. They were pretty successful last year. They lost their Southern League championship 2-1 to the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, which are just one of the
damn
many
Blue Wahoos.
one of the many wonderful, minor league affiliate names. Like you have like the Trash Pandas, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. This year they project to have some pretty good players on their roster. Their starting outfield of Jordan Nwogu, a PCA, and Pete Crow Armstrong, for those who don't know, and Owen Casey. Those are three of some of the best outfield prospects in the Cubs system, and they'll be right there, hopefully teeing off. And one of the things I like about Double A is it's the first level where pitching becomes really advanced. This is the first time where a lot of guys are really tested. They're going to be facing, some of the best draft prospects. A lot of college pitchers, they make their debut in Double A or High A. So this is the first time. It's considered the biggest jump for minor league players. If you can hit in Double A, you can probably hit in Triple A, and you can probably reach the big leagues. But it's just hard to adjust to that. Another key player coming off of injuries, Miguel Amaya, who former Cubs top 5 prospect, is slid down a bit due to injuries. He had Tommy John last season, but he figures to be their catcher for the future. Although there's a lot of health concerns there, he's always been a good hitter, and he's decent behind the plate. It's just, can he stay healthy? Pitching wise, it's what I'm looking forward to the most out of any level in the Cubs organization. So you have guys like Jordan Wicks, Ben Brown, Daniel Palencia, even a guy like Cade Horton. He might get to Double A at some point. So these are all upper echelon pitching prospects. In fact, I don't think Ben Brown or Wicks will stay in Double A for very long. They'll probably see some Triple A, may see some of the big leagues at some point. And what I like about those two in particular, Brown and Wicks, is that their floors are as fives basically. These guys, Wicks relies on his changeup. It's really powerful. Ben Brown's got a nasty curveball. They've got really good secondaries. Their floor is back at the rotation guys, or like a high leverage reliever basically. And Palencia is just absolutely nasty, 100-mile-per-hour fastball, stretched out as a starter right now. I read a report the other day where if the Cubs were in contention last year, which is, it's like saying if I were to win the lottery tomorrow, it's not going to happen, but they were considering bumping Palencia from High A all the way to the big league club if they were in contention and needed a dominant reliever. Their manager is Michael Ryan, who played a little bit of Major League Baseball, I think, for the Angels and one other organization that escapes me. As always, minor league hitting coordinator Rachel Fulden, who is absolutely wonderful. The Cubs did a video on their YouTube where she was basically just mic'd up talking to the players. Everyone loves her. I think she's done a great job in the system so far. And overall, this is just an incredibly exciting team. Maybe not as exciting as the AAA roster, which we'll get to next month, but there's a lot of guys to watch here.
Very good. Do you know how big the stadium is? And I mean, I've been to Springfield Redbirds games, so I kind of have an idea of how big their stadium is. How big's the stadium at Tennessee? Do you have any
It's
idea?
not too big. I think it seats maximum like 8,000 people, so it's on the smaller side. It's not. I think Sloan Park is probably a bit bigger, but still, I mean, for a minor league park, they have pretty good attendance. It's in a nice spot. It's in Tennessee. Um, it's nice.
Good. Okay, Brody, what is going on with the Cardinals AA affiliate? Where are they located? What do they do? How high can they jump? Do they sing a cappella? Just tell me everything you know about them.
So so the Cardinals AA team is in Springfield, Missouri. They play at their stadium's called Hammond Field. And it's it ain't too big, it's 7,986 is their seating capacity, which I heard you say you have been there, so you got the rough idea. They share the stadium with the Missouri State Bears, which is my mom's graduated from Missouri State, so that's kind of a personal connection to it. But
My wife graduated from there, and one of my daughters is in graduate school there. So,
really, so I guess you guys also have that connection too, huh?
oh yeah, yeah.
They've been affiliated with the Cardinals 2 different times, not just once. They were there 1931 to 1946, and we had players Stan the Man, Dizzy Dean, Pepper Martin, and Nina Slaughter come up to there. So yeah, some of the greatest Cardinals of all time. Came up and played with that affiliation. But they've been with us recently since 2005. Obviously to now, 200 Cardinals, or Springfield Cardinals, I should say, came through and have made their debuts in the MLB, and 126 of these came up with the Cardinals and made their debut. The most recent being Jordan Walker. The city bought the team after the owner passed away, and they are doing renovations, and they have a lease agreement until 2034.
Wow. So they're going to be there for a while.
Yeah. They don't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. The Springfield will actually be open tomorrow for opening day. So up on the Jumbotron, the fans will be able to come in and watch the game, which I imagine that'd be an awesome atmosphere.
Oh, that's nice.
But their season starts April 6th, just a few days after, and the cheapest seats there are $10 if anybody's in the neighborhood there. Their 2022 stats, they went 68-70, which it's a losing record, but it wasn't as bad as the rookie ball and A ball. This is their 4th consecutive losing year, and the 5th year in a row that they haven't made it to the playoffs. The team manager is Jose Ligon. Some of the last year's stars were Gordon Grintz, Michael McCree, shortstop Mason Wynn, and Jordan Walker, of course. And yeah. And they also, my old man wanted me to mention this. They're having 11 bobbleheads come out this year.
That's important to JJ.
That is.
I think when JJ was little, he was deprived of bobbleheads. He wanted some, and mom and dad said, "No, you can't have any." And so now he's like fixated on them. But anyway, so that's really good. One of the things that I have noticed, and I this isn't necessarily indicative on scouting for both teams. It's indicative of I guess kind of how the Cardinals have been and the last few years with the Cubs. The Cardinal minor league teams have been not great.
Right.
And that's an indication of the talent level that they have. But when you're winning that much, you're not getting the high draft picks, so on and so forth. The Cubs
Right.
minor league seems to be on the rise, and not only have we had a couple of pretty bad years in a row, but we've
Well,
done a lot of trades to build up that minor league. So um, we have some reason for optimism with what's coming up, and I know the Cardinals do too, but the Cardinals have more of a major league roster. They've got
It's
Goldschmidt,
top
Arenado.
heavy.
Yeah. So so I'm curious in 5 years where are we going to be? Are the Cubs going to be the top heavy team and the Cardinals maybe down a little bit?
Right.
Who knows? But um, I really do implore anybody, if you've not been to a minor league game, those in the St. Louis area, man, go see the Gateway Grizzlies. Um, Take a trip to Springfield to see the Springfield Redbirds. Go to Tennessee, see the Smokies, see why they named the team after little sausages that you just put in barbecue sauce. That's what I think of when I think of Tennessee Smokies. But anyway, well, gentlemen, thank you for your time. And next month we will do AAA, and then the months after that we'll just be looking at the minor league seasons. Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, wasn't that great?
Woo!
The work they put into it is just amazing. It really is. I mean,
Those
they
kids.
they do their homework, and it really does. It makes me want to go to Tennessee and see a game, or go to Springfield and see a game.
11 bobbleheads to this year. 11 bobblehead days.
Yes, Brody, let us know that. We are going to look at our predictions for the season, for awards, and who's going to win the World Series. And being this is going to be saved on YouTube and on Spotify, we can go back and look at this record and just really humiliate ourselves at the end of the year, how bad we've done. So why don't we start with each division?
Right.
One of us will give what we think, and we'll just go division by division. You want to start with the National League East?
The National League East. Well, sure. You want me to start with them?
You start.
All right. Well, I kind of graded, and of course, all the experts are doing their picks this week. All the magazines are out, and they're no more right than any of us. So we thought, what the heck? We'll take our chance, and we'll make some predictions too. We could be just as wrong as they are. So
That's right.
And I'm grading mine on, of course, offense, the hitting, which you got your power, your on-base percentage, and your speed. I think that's going to be more important. I mean, it always has been important, but there's been years where the Cardinals had no team speed. Or teams I watch. Let me just put it that way. Pitching, I go by the starters, of course. You break that down into innings pitched. And I like to go whip. I don't know about you, Vince, but I look at that whip a lot. How many people are getting on. Of course, defense, that's a big part of it. And then, of course, now more than ever is the bullpen, because pitchers just don't go as long as they did. And the bullpen is just as important as the starters. And then the coach. And I know a lot of people say, well, the coach, but experience, the team. A lot of times I've seen teams quit on a manager, motivating them, caring, standing up for them, being there. And sometimes the teams kind of take the coach. Like if you got a tough coach, sometimes they'll get in there and battle, or sometimes you got to be some teams are more loose, out there for the course of the year, because it's hard to stay 100% intense for 6 months. That's almost ridiculous. There's got to be a little enjoyment in there as well. So we're starting with the National League East, and I'm going, this may be a surprise, I'm going to start at the top. Well, first of all, the Nationals, bless their hearts, they're at the bottom. I have them dead last. They're superstars. Strasburg, he's hurt. I know they've got some good young players. Every team does. But when you look at this stacked division, which might be the best division in baseball, the Nationals are last place. Fourth place, I've got the Florida Marlins, but I've got them trending up. I think they've got some good young players. They're getting better. They got Sandy Alcantara. They've got some pitchers coming. They've got the American League batting champion in that lineup. Depth, I think that's the difference between good teams and just okay teams is the depth. If they have any injuries, it could be a long year. I think they'll stick around. I don't think they're going to hang with the three big boys, but I think they're on the way up to get to being a better team. Now, here we go with the three big boys. And Vince, I don't know how you feel about this because it's a crapshoot, but I think the Phillies are going to be the third place team. I see them digressing a little bit there because last year was kind of a magical year. Hoskins is out for the season now, and it's going to be tough to replace him. Harper won't be around for a while. They got Trey Turner, probably behind Ohtani, the most exciting player in baseball right now. Everybody's talking about Trey Turner. So that does make them better, but I don't know. That was a long year last year, and I see them just a notch down there. I still see them making the playoffs, though. Second place, the big dollar New York Mets. And maybe that's just me wanting them to finish second, because they spent so much money. And the Mets, I'm sorry to your cousin or uncle. I know he's a big Met fan, and he's,
My cousin, he's younger than me.
Oh, his cousin. Okay. I'm sorry. All right. But anyway, I know he's a Met fan.
I'm sure that Mark is going to appreciate that you think that he is in his mid to late 70s.
He's distinguished. That's what I meant. He's a very distinguished man. Yeah. So I got the Mets finishing second. They've got, and this is really what it comes down to. Of course, they got two studs at the top of their rotation, but they're both over 40 years old, and it's a long season. And I don't know if they're going to be holed up through the heat of the summer. We'll see. And they got rid of Bassett, who I thought last year was their best pitcher, and he's gone now. And then I've got the Atlanta Braves. I think it's their time. This team has been together through the minors. They've played in the pros a few years. They're getting close. I think it's about ready to gel. I love their coach. They're not that far away from a world championship. And they have basically most of those same players. Great pitching, great bullpen. I think they got incredible defense. And I have the Braves winning that division. How do you feel about that, Vince?
Well, I'll start at the bottom. Nationals.
Yeah.
Fourth place, you're right there. It's going to be the Marlins. The Marlins are trending up, but this may be as high as they get.
For a long time.
Yeah. They may, trade off a few people who are unhappy playing for 8 fans, in this huge stadium. It was nice to see the stadium full of the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, that was unusual.
Yeah. The top 3 teams are stacked and loaded. And I want to tell you the logic I use. I've got Atlanta. I've got all 3 going to the playoffs.
Same here.
I got Atlanta finishing third as a wild card team. And the reason is there are some question marks. The rookie that's going to be at shortstop, is he going to be playing really good ball, or is he going to, thud? You've got 2 guys who had great rookie seasons. Is there going to be a sophomore slump? I don't know. One of the pluses, they are going to have a Cunha Jr., back and locked and loaded. But one thing about the Braves that I think was missing last year, which is also missing this year, was Freddie Freeman's leadership.
I know it.
And so the guy who took up the mantle last year was Swanson. So it just seems like, okay, who's our leader now? Who's the leader? Because of those variables, I thought, I think they may be the third team in this division. And when I say third team, I could realistically see this being a division like the 2015 when the Cardinals won 100, the Pirates won 98, the Cubs won 97. I mean, they're all 3 really good. I got second place going to Philadelphia, and the reason that I like Philadelphia a little bit more than you is that I just think Trey Turner is poised to be take that next step into being an MVP candidate. It is going to hurt not having Hoskins all year long, but realistically in this lineup, he's maybe, well, this is with what's his name, Harper in. He's down at the end of the lineup. There's a lot of swing and miss there. So I'm not as high on Hoskins as I was a few years ago when he looked like he was going to be a 40 home run guy. So I've got Philadelphia finishing second, even without Harper for the first part of the year. And I've got the Mets, even though the Mets have lost Diaz for the year. I just think that they're motivated and they are ready to reach out and take the division. So I have the Mets, the Phillies, the Braves, Miami, and Washington, and you have it wrong.
Okay. Fair. I've been wrong. I'm like a baseball player. 7 out of 10 times I'm wrong.
There you go. All right. What do you got for the Central?
The Central, well, it's just there's no surprises at the bottom. Cincinnati Reds. Oh, it's bleak. I feel bad for them. What a great organization. There's just a few things. And Votto's out at the beginning of the year. He's not the same player as he used to be, but he is a legend. He's in almost every top 10 category in their history. And there's a few things. That Green kid, he's starting opening day against the Pirates too. That'll be fun. Speaking of the Pirates,
that'll be the first thing I'll watch is the first few innings of that game just to see Hunter Green pitch.
Oh, Hunter Green. I really enjoy that kid. And if the Reds are rebuilding in a year, they are welcome to give them to us. We'll take them, The Pirates is fourth, and I tell you what, I got them trending up. I got the Reds kind of going nowhere, but the Reds are trending up. Now, there's a big drop-off between fourth and third, but they've got some very good-looking superstar, all-star kind of players that are young, that all come together at the same time. They need to get some pitching. I don't think they have a lot of depth, and their closer's good. I've seen him in the World Baseball Classic. He's very good. He was an all-star last year, but overall, the bullpen doesn't impress me much. So I got them at fourth. Vince, I'm sorry. I got the Cubs at third. I really enjoy the Cubs. It's always fun when the Cardinals and Cubs play. There's nothing better. The world just seems like it's so right. Win or lose, it's fun. It's better when we win, but it's a good time when that's some of my favorite moments when the Cardinals and Cubs play, and us beating the Mets. That's second. But I have them third, and I really like their lineup. I see they're up. They're getting better and better, and I think you got some good young players coming. You've mentioned two of them, that Crow Armstrong kid. I'm excited to see him come. Now he's not coming north yet, right? He's still in the minors.
Oh no, he's starting in the A or AA.
Oh, he's down there. Okay. And then you had that big first baseman you were hoping, but they signed Hosmer and some other guys.
Mervis is starting in AAA.
Okay. Well, he'll be up before the end of the year. I'm excited to see those kids play, and the Cubs are getting better. Now, the Brewers, their hitting does not scare me, and their defense is just, I think, okay, but that starting pitching is scary. And if it's our bullpen, well, I say ours. I'm a Cardinal. If the Cardinal bullpen and the Brewer bullpen, I'm okay with that. At the end, Helsley versus Williams, that's the good matchup. But their starting pitching, they definitely are better at starting pitching than us. And but ours, anyway. So I got the Brewers at second. Counsell being the best, maybe the best, one of the best managers in all of baseball. Number two, so he'll keep a minute. And then the Cardinals, of course, all this depends on injuries, and it's a long season. And I'm a guy who kind of sticks with a player a little longer because sometimes people are quick to pull the switch. I like to see a guy get a many at bats, maybe play him to his strengths. But I got the Cardinals being first. I think we have great depth. Our middle of that lineup looks so impressive. We got our pitching though is our starting pitching is our weakness. But I think we've got a great bullpen. We've got a lot of lefties, and we've got some minor guys in the minors that I think are going to make an impact sooner than later. So that's my picks. I have St. Louis first, the Brewers second, the Cubs third, but the Cubs are right on the Brewers right? They're right on them, I think. And then the Pirates and the Reds.
You are correct.
Hey, I'm back.
Um, I I try to watch a couple games of each team every year. They're not always full games, but I try to watch at least 5 innings or so because I want to have a pulse and a feel of what a team's doing. And that's hard to do with only watching 2 times. So yeah, it was very tough for me to watch two uh oh Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim's game, because they're out there late, so on and so forth. It's going to be easier this year being we're playing everybody. So
That's
I
right.
am kind of happy about that. But when there are weak teams that I want to watch, I pick out some players that I want to focus on. And Cincinnati, I really want to see Hunter Green pitch. And after Hunter Green pitches, I don't care what else happens with this team. There is nobody else that even interests me. The Pirates are a little bit different. I like watching Reynolds play. I want to see O'Neill Cruz, see how he develops this year. And Key Brian Hayes is just a ton of fun, especially when he's got the leather on. He's a great third baseman. So there's reason to watch the Pirates, and that's why I think we're in the same ballpark. The Pirates are a little bit ahead of Cincinnati, maybe as much as 6 or 7 games ahead of Cincinnati. Um, I do have the Cubs in third. I'm going with my head instead of my heart. The reason is because we are young, we are trending up, but we know we're not a finished product yet. And as we talked earlier, Milwaukee's got that pitching, and they got Craig Counsell. I don't see the Brewers, and I don't see the Cubs, either one of them being a wild card contender. Being the East and the West have much better teams. In fact, I could see the Cardinals winning this division with 88 victories, 87 victories, something like that. So I do have the Cardinals, the class of this division, and the Cardinals are kind of like a team that you just want to get in the once you get in the playoffs, you can get hot, you can get on a roll. Who knows? The Cardinals, 162 games. They're not the Mets. They're not the Phillies. They're not the Braves. They're not the Dodgers. They're not the Padres. But if they get into October and they get rolling, they've got some talent on that team that can play, and they can catch the ball better than just about anybody else they're going to line up against. So I have the Cardinals taking the division.
I like the way you think, Hopper. I like the way you think. All right. Well, that just leaves us with the West now, the wild, wild West. And I tell you what, the bottom seems to be pretty easy to come by. Who's going to finish last? I don't know if you read, there was an article in the Athletic, but they have they talk to teams and their fan base about optimism. And the team with the least optimism in all of baseball, can you guess who that was?
The Rockies?
The Rockies. And you mentioned that that team should move out of Colorado. I don't know. I don't know. But they've got a few good players. A lot of their stars have left and went other places now. And I kind of feel bad for them, but they're about as bad as you can get. Every aspect of their team is like, Charlie, they got Charlie Blackmon still. Yeah.
They got Chris Bryant. He's
got
cashing those checks.
He sure he's always smiling.
I would be too.
So you got the Colorado Rockies at last, and I tell you what, I don't know if it's between a paper cut and watching the Rockies. I'm gonna have to flip a coin on that one, I think. Fourth, I'm gonna take the Diamondbacks. I think they're a team, I won't say on the upswing, they're gradually climbing the hill just a little bit, but they've got some good young players, some pitchers. They're kind of like where the Pirates are in that branch, I would think. Everybody's very excited about this rookie. They think it's going to be the rookie of the year. Corbin, I can't think of his last name, but he's the fastest man in baseball right now. So we'll see. I'm anxious to see him play. I don't know anything about him. Then we get to the top three, and this is going to be interesting. I think the Giants are about where they've been, but they've always put a good team together. They were trying to get like a top star, a face of the team, and Korea was the guy, and we all know how that kind of ended up. So, and Buster Posey is retired. They're kind of in a transitional year now. And like you said, you could see them going out and getting a Burns or somebody like that next year. They're a good team, not a great team, not a bad team. I just think they're a good team and they're fun to watch. I like your Skrimsky on that team. And to be honest with you, there's been so many moves. I'm not quite sure who all is still on that team. But Belt and Crawford's been there for a long, long time. Then we get to the top two, and this is going to be fun. It's going to be a dogfight. The Dodgers have been at the top of that division for a long, long time, but they made some choices this year, and then Lux got hurt. They always have that pitching, and they've got a nice bullpen, but I think it's time for the Padres to take over. They spent a lot of money and brought in 4 big superstars, and the complementary players that go with those players, punch a strong pitching and a nice bullpen. Whew, the Padres just look too good, and I'm picking the Dodgers to finish second and to win that division. This is not brain surgery. I mean, that team just looks devastating, and if they stay healthy, look out. Soto has looked good so far in the spring, so I picked the Padres to win that division.
You are exactly right again.
Hey, 2 for 3.
I will watch the Rockies when they play the Cubs, and I'll be interested in seeing Chris Bryant if he's going to be on the field. That's the deal with Bryant. Is he going to be on the field? Has the injuries diminished his skills a bit? And he hit good when he played with the Rockies last year, but it was very small sample size because he was injured. Arizona, I like the pitching. And like Zach Gallen, former Cardinal farmhand, he's just about as good as you're going to get. He's a very good pitcher, and he's handled the Cubs pretty easily over the last few years. I do have the Giants in third. The Giants are kind of a team that is in flux, and I think that, well, one of their best pitchers that they had, best pitching prospects, they gave us for Chris Bryant, and they got a half year out of Bryant, not even a half year, a couple months out of Bryant, and then he left. So San Francisco seems like a mediocre team to me. I do have the Dodgers in second, and I see them regressing a little bit. There are some players that are, a little long in the tooth. Kershaw's been there for a long time. He's going to be diminishing. Yeah, he's fallen off a little bit, but I see, more diminishing years with him. Losing Trey Turner is huge. And I just see them taking a little bit of a step back. Now, I still have them as the third wild card team in the National League, but I just do not see them as the class anymore. And I think San Diego, when you look at the talent, when you look at the fact that Soto had a terrible year for them, Tatis didn't play, and he's going to come back. Golly gee, watch my language. This team is loaded, and I think they're hungry, and I think they're ready to take the division. So aside from the East, we pretty much Central and West, we agree.
And we agreed on all 6 playoff teams too.
Yeah.
Dodgers, Padres, Cardinals, Phillies, Mets, Braves. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the most evil division in baseball, the American League East, because that's where the Yankees reside.
You want to go first? You go first to the American League. I'll come in second.
In 5th place, I see Boston taking up the rear. They seem to be a directionless team. They don't know what to do. So I just don't see a whole lot going on in Boston this year. Tampa Bay, I've got sliding to 4th because nothing that they've done wrong, except for playing in Tampa Bay. But I think Baltimore is just ready to overtake them. I've got Baltimore in 3rd. I like the young talent. I think this is a team that could potentially win 90 games. I don't think they are ready to be the class of the division yet because we have two heavyweights at the top. But I really like Baltimore, and I think they are moving in the right direction, and it's going to show this year with the third place finish, knocking Tampa to the fourth place slot. Second, and this was the most difficult one for me to choose. Who's going to win this division? I've got Toronto coming in second, but I have them as a wild card team. I love the pitching, and I love the offense. The thing that concerns me a little bit is center field George Springer ended the playoffs injured, and George Springer's getting a little old. Can he handle center field anymore? But that, you got the Suns team. You've got Dante's Bichette's son, Bo Bichette. You've got Gavin Biggio, who had a terrible year last year. That we know he's a better player than that. And of course, who's that guy playing first? Who is that?
Yeah. He reminds me of somebody.
Vlad the Impaler? Yeah, that guy. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a stud, an absolute stud. I had him in consideration for MVP this year. But I think the Yankees are still the class of the division. I love Garrett Cole. I love Nestor.
Nasty Nestor.
Yeah, Nasty Nestor. We'll just call him that. And let's face it, Aaron Judge is just the best hitter in baseball, and he's a good outfielder too. And I like the complementary players, and I like their experience. I just think that the Yankees, even though the second half of the season was not nearly as strong as the first half, I still think that they're the class of the division. But I had a hard time. I almost flipped the coin. That's how close I think that the Blue Jays and the Yankees are.
Well,
Vince,
we just disagree on a few, 40%. That's all, 40%.
40%.
All right, we're always right on that. We always agree on the bottom. We always agree. Red Sox, I don't know what they were doing, but maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they have a bunch of minor leaguers, and they just thought, no, we're going to let this go. We're going to save a little money, and these guys are going to come up, and you won't believe who these pitchers are and everything like players. I know Chris Sale, he's trying to come back, and he at one time was a top 5 pitcher, but I don't know if he can regain that. He's a very fun to watch. They did resign Devers. I think Boston would have rioted had they let Bogarts and Devers go. So yeah. They did re-sign Devers, but I just don't see them matching up because this is a very tough division. If the Red Sox were in the American League Central or the National League Central, they might win the thing, but they're a 5th place team over in the East. Now, here's where we differ. I have the Orioles in 4th. I think they're a very young team, and they've got talent coming. Oh my gosh, that Gunnar Henderson kid is going to be a rookie this year. And they've got, I just think their pitching, I don't think their pitching matches the talent they have on the position players. And I don't know about their bullpen. And in that division, that's going to be exposed if it's not up to snuff. We'll see. But I've got, because of that and their depth, but they got a lot of good young players, but sometimes with young players comes inconsistency. So that's why I put them at 4th. In 3rd place, I have Tampa Bay Devil Rays. We've tried to bury them every year, but when you turn around at the end of the year, you're looking, they're in the playoff hunt every year. And they went through different managers. They rotate players through there, and they're doing something right. Their minor leagues or their fundamentals or something. They have a couple of pitchers I absolutely love, that McCallahan kid and Glasnow, who I was hoping the Cardinals would go after, but I don't know if Glasnow's going to start. He might be on the IR at the beginning of the season, but they got a lot of players. Rosarina. Oh, it hurt that he was a Cardinal and he went over there, but that's baseball for you. But I think I'll talk about it later, but I have Tampa Bay making the playoffs as one of the wild card teams, and they're 3rd place. And they don't have to play this year. They don't have to play the Yankees all those games in that division. Now they're going to be spread out to other teams. And I think
that never bothered them though.
No, they fought no matter who they go against, they give them a good game. And unless there's something I don't see, because they keep coming up with good young players, we're going to see. Now, again, Vince, I'm like you, the top two. You got the Yankees and Toronto. For me, it came down to this. The Yankees are a bunch of they're almost like a bunch of hired hands, a bunch of hired killers on that team. And I can't see Aaron Judge having a better year than he had last year. He carried that team. They have guys who have a lot of injuries. Bader is hurt all the time. They think they stole that deal from us, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep a running total this year of Bader versus our center fielders and see who has a better year. And I guarantee it's going to be the Cardinals. I like Bader, but he's very inconsistent. And we'll see. But Toronto is one of those teams I kind of liken them to the Atlanta Braves. They all kind of came up at the same time. They've been through the minors. They're a good looking team, but they've fallen short. And this may be the year they climb the hump. And I think one of the reasons is because their bench, hard hitting, as it Whitfield, two hit Whit. He was with the Royals and played a long time there. This kid is great and would be a starter in almost any other team. And he's going to be like their Zobrist, the Swiss Army knife kind of player. Their bench looks incredible. I think this could be the year. So I've got the Yankees finishing second, and I got Toronto and their pitching staff, the top four. That's a great pitching staff. I tell you what, the Toronto's coming to St. Louis that first weekend. I'm almost going to be, if we can win 2 out of 3, I'll be ecstatic and get Toronto the heck out of here. So I have Toronto 1, Yankees 2. I have Tampa Bay 3, 4. I put the Orioles, and in last place I have the Red Sox.
Yeah, I said, between the Yankees and Toronto, it was almost a coin flip. Actually, between Baltimore and Tampa, it was almost a coin flip too. I had a hard time going against Tampa just because of their system. And I think the greatest thing they have done, and they've done it since, was it 08, the first year that they made the playoffs, was
Yes.
They have brought up guys who just don't have great talent. They're talented, but they're not the Yankees. They're not the Red Sox in the division. But they've brought them up, and they're not afraid of anybody.
No.
And they've got that chip on their shoulder, and they don't come defeated. They don't, oh gosh, we're playing the Yankees, we're going to lose 3 or 4 here or something like that. They come with a chip on their shoulder. Yeah, well, you're better than us, but we're going to give you the fight of your life. And they've had that mentality for 15 years, and it has carried them well. 2 World Series appearances. You know how long it took the Cubs to get their next World Series appearance after 1945, so kind of like that. The AL Central. I have the Tigers bringing up the rear.
Surprise.
It's going to be embarrassing to watch Miguel Cabrera walk up there and try to hit when he can barely walk. But he's a legend, and he should get the nice send-off that the legends get. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a fun guy. I've always liked him. He interacts with the fans better than just about anybody in baseball, interacts with the kids. Great human being. Love him. Too bad he's got to finish out this year in Detroit. 4th place, I have the Royals. I think the Royals have a little bit of talent there. I think that they're trying to, once again, tailor their team like the World Series teams. Defense, pitching, a lot of arms in the bullpen, and develop in that manner, kind of how the Cubs are developing now. Defense up the middle first, pitching, and then supplement, with some offense. The problem is the Royals just do not have a whole lot of offense. Their last 2 years, they've gotten rid of their best hitters. Jorge Soler, they got rid of a guy who's, he's hit 45 home runs in a year. Last year, they got rid of Whit Merrifield. They do have some talent, but I think they're better than Detroit. 3rd place is a team that a lot of people will think I'm nuts, but I got the White Sox in 3rd place because even though they have a lot of talent, They've got Lucas Giolito. I saw Clevenger pitch the other day against the Cubs, and he looked hittable, but you could see that he's a couple weeks because he had the issues that he was exonerated from MLB. So, but I just see the White Sox as a team that they've lost their way. Losing Abreu, that leadership is a big thing. I do like the pitching, but Eloy Jimenez, former Cub, farmhand that we got rid of, and for the Quintana deal, there's just something about the White Sox that last year was completely off. And maybe it was La Russa's age or whatever. He didn't have the leadership skills anymore or something. But I just see the White Sox as kind of like this weird team. A lot of talent, especially in pitching. Dylan Cease is wonderful.
He's great.
Giolito's great. Clevenger, Lance Lynn. But I just kind of see them as a plodding team, not really having a direction. I got Cleveland finishing second. A lot of pitching, not much offense. And I think they're going to regress a little bit. And I have the Twins this is an odd year, odd number of years. The Twins seem to do good. Twins a very talented team, and I think it helped that they got Correa back, and I think that's something that's going to help solidify them. And I just think it's going to be a close race between Minnesota and Cleveland, and I just think it's that year Minnesota is going to win it. How wrong am I?
Me and you don't agree on everything on that division, but I like the way you're thinking.
I know you have the Tigers finishing first, don't you?
I know, and I have a lot of family and friends in Michigan, but no, Tigers the last place. Yeah, people who worked in the car plants have just stayed up there. But the Tigers fifth place, and there's a few. They've got that Torkelson kid, Spencer Torkelson. They've got some good young players, but there's just few and far between, and there's not a lot of depth on that team. Mize, that first round draft choice, he got hurt last year. I don't know if he's gonna be back this year. They got a few people to watch, and I'd enjoy if the Tigers came to town, I'd go see them. I've always enjoyed the Tigers organization. Fourth place, I got the Kansas City Royals. I remember there was a time you lived out there and followed the Royals. I've always had a soft place in my heart for the Royals, and they have a new first baseman, Vinny. I can't think of his last name, but he's a big power hitter. I love the shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. There's a ML Menendez, and of course, they still got Perez from the World Series years, and Singer, a starting pitcher, and Greinke. I've never been big on Greinke, but he'll be out there, and I think he's pitching on opening day. And they got Chapman, the old reliever that helped you guys win the World Series. He's out there. I know.
That was a weird signing.
Well, they did that with Trevor Rosenthal. Rosenthal had a really good year that year, and they traded him at the deadline and picked up some prospects. So maybe that's what they're going to do. Hopefully Chapman finds himself, and then they can move him when they're going to be out of it. But Kansas City, they're getting a new stadium here in a few years. And if you haven't been to Kauffman, go out there and watch the game. They got the fountains and one of the best scoreboards in baseball. It's a good time. Just not a lot of people show up right now. So I got them for fourth. Third place, I have the White Sox. And like you, I think they lost their way. And this team is just talented. The first level of players, the starting position, they're very talented, but they lost to Abreu, who's starting to get a little long in the tooth. But they've got a very talented team, a lot of players I like, good pitching. But for some reason, it just seems like they're not putting it together. Second place, I flip-flopped with you. I have Minnesota Twins finishing second. A good team, but I think Cleveland Guardians, I almost said the Indians. Guardians I think they're the class of that division. They are the youngest team in baseball. There's some young up and coming. They're fun to watch. And Jose Ramirez might be one of the top. I think he's one of the top 10 players in baseball. Their third baseman. That guy's an RBI machine. That stadium last year was packed. It's good to see Cleveland having some good years. They get to the mountaintop. They can't never quite win it. So I have Cleveland going to the playoffs this year, and that's the only team out of that division.
Yeah, that's all I have in that division going to the playoffs. The thing about Cleveland, I didn't see them last year as someone who just won the division. I see them as the team that didn't fall apart.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's there's almost no offense there, and I just looked I looked at them and I thought, good pitching. They made the playoffs last year. One of the reasons they made the playoffs last year was the White Sox, who were clearly the class of the division. They fell apart, and the Twins, who had a good team, a lot of talent, somehow they couldn't put it together last year because it was an even number year. Yeah,
All
so
right. I didn't.
well,
Yeah, you're working at Voodoo.
yeah, I'm into the voodoo. Voodoo Vinny, that's what they call me. In the West, I have Oakland finishing last, just like you do. I bet.
We're 6 for 6 on that one. The last place teams.
And fourth place, I have the Angels. And this is what I see. I see by the trading deadline, Ohtani's gone, or Trout's gone, or they're both gone. I think those two players playing in an atmosphere where it meant something, they've thought, screw this Angels thing. I'm going to demand a trade. And do you know how many suitors are going to line up for a Shohei Ohtani?
Everybody.
Everybody that has a few bucks in their wallet. And Mike Trout the same way. The only way I don't see them getting traded is if one or both of them get hurt, and that's not going to help the record. So the Angels I've got in fourth place. I honestly thought maybe if the two stars are gone early enough, Oakland could usurp them. But I thought, no, they're going to stick around at least until the deadline. Maybe one of them will finish out the year there. Third place, I have the Texas Rangers, and I have the Rangers taking a wild card position. I like what they have done, and I think Simeon and Yeager, Seager. Why did I say Yeager? Simeon and Seager are going to be more comfortable with each other, and they're going to play better. And gosh, the free agent they picked up.
Well,
I am brain cramping. Who did they pick up this year? They picked up DeGrom.
Yeah, and there's another guy too they picked up. I have a couple. I'm sorry.
I should have put it in my notes, but I didn't. But anyway, I just see them as an up-and-coming team, and they're being managed by one of the people I thought was one of the best managers we've seen in my lifetime, Bruce Bochy. So with Bochy managing them, he took the Padres to the World Series and won 3 World Series with the Giants. I see the Rangers as a team that is going to make some noise and get into a wild card. Second, I got the Mariners. We all saw what they did last year in the playoffs. They got Rodriguez, a lot of talent on that team. And but Houston, I just think Houston's so much better than everyone else. Until we get to my World Series prediction. But anyway, how do you like my American League West? I have a feeling we're pretty close.
We're pretty close. We flip-flopped one. Last place, of course, me and Vince, we know last place, and we can pick the last place teams right there. Of course, I have the Oakland A's, and I don't know what's going to happen with them. Fourth place, I have the A's being about as good as they were last year. People are just cherry picking all their talent. Fourth, I have the Rangers. Last year, I think they're getting better. I think they're going in the right direction. They're on the upswing, but this is a good division, and the Rangers might be the best fourth place team in baseball. So how's that, Texas? Are you happy about that? Third place, I put the Angels. I think they added some pieces. I've heard a lot of people on the MLB channel thinking they've made some good choices. I think they're going to make a run at the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to make it.
Well, this is another aspect about the Angels. Moreno's going to sell the team, then he's not going to sell the team. Okay. that tells me two things. Number one, he is sick and tired of paying this payroll. He's sick of that. Okay. And he's either going to sell the team or he's going to cut payroll. And if he cuts payroll, we know who the two big guys are,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and
And nobody's taking Rodon. He don't play. He's been hurt.
yeah,
He's stuck with that contract.
there. But if he sells the team, you can go in two directions when you sell a team. You can either keep the big payroll and make hey, this team could be a contender, which I don't think they are. So I think he would go the other direction. A lot of times when they sell a team, they strip off a lot of the payroll so they can get more people, more interest in the team. So I just don't see them finishing the year great. But anyway, I'm probably wrong.
Well, last year I know I was in a fantasy league where we only could pick a team that didn't make the playoffs the year before. And Brody took the Angels, and at one time they were like third place out of 12 teams in our thing. And through May they were pretty good, and then the wheels fell off, and he finished in last place. But I just don't think I have enough pieces. And this is a tough division. The top two teams are top-notch teams, and them and the Rangers, I could see either way right there. But I think that's going to be a good race there. But now we get up to the second place team, and I see it Seattle Mariners. They added Colton Wong. I think their pitching staff is great. Their bullpen's good, and they're starting hitting and defense. I think their defense is top notch. That's going to be a tough team. And they're on the upswing. They made the playoffs last year, and Seattle fans responded, and that's a fun place to watch a game. I've been to both the Kingdome and Safeco Field, so those are going to be. I'm happy for Seattle. And again, like you said, Vince, the Astros. What more can you say? They did lose Verlander, and I think there was a catcher they may have lost, but it's tough to repeat. But they're going to win that division, and they'll be in the playoffs. So I have who did I pick in the playoffs there? I have Seattle and Houston making the playoffs. I have both of those teams.
Okay, so we're pretty close on a lot
All the
of
playoff teams we agreed on, yeah.
The playoffs team, yeah. I'm not going to go through the layers of division rounds, so on and so forth. I'm just going to go to the World Series, and I'm probably wrong, but I have the Padres beating the Mariners. And you're probably wondering, you just said Houston's the best team in baseball. I think Seattle and Houston, I could see them having a knockdown, drag out 7-game playoffs. And I'm just going with my heart here. I really want to see the Mariners topple them. So I think, or I hope that Seattle makes, but I think this is the year the Padres finally bring home a World Series.
That's two teams that's never won a World Series in the World Series. That'll be fun. Those cities will be electrified. That'll be great. Well, there's a few things I was going to touch on because in the American League, I have I think the Astros are going to bump off the Yankees again. I love it when the Astros beat the Yankees in the playoffs because the Yankee fans go crazy. But I have Toronto Blue Jays going to the World Series in the American League. I think they're the most complete team out there in the American League. And in the National League, I do have the Cardinals matching up with I have the Cardinals making it through the first round. I have to talk about my Cardinals, but that's as far as they'll get. But I think it's going to be Toronto Blue Jays and the Atlanta Braves. And it's going to be a great World Series. And I have Toronto Blue Jays winning the World Series. I really do. I think their pitching staff's just better. And so that's my picks. So we got San Diego and Toronto. Oh, man, this is going to be fun, Vince.
Well, we also picked 3 of the awards. And I'll go ahead and give you my picks for Rookie of the Year. In the National League, I've got a sleeper. And it could be just because I've watched this guy pitch in August or September last year, and I've watched him in the spring training, and he's got wicked stuff. I'm picking Hayden Wesneski from the Cubs, a little bit with my heart. I'm picking him for Rookie of the Year in the National League. Now, in the American League, I it came down to the player for the Orioles.
Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, Gunnar Henderson. I almost said Gunderson. Uh, Henderson, and but this I picked Masataka Yoshida, Masataka Yoshida for the Red Sox, who came over from the Japanese league. And the reason I picked him for Rookie of the Year, he's 29 years old. He's been an all-star in Japan, and I kind of like those kind of players who have a little bit under their belt. So that's who I have for Rookie of the Year. I bet you have Jordan Walker.
Yes, you read me. I'm Mr. Poker Face. Yes, I have Jordan Walker. I think it's more I want him to be the Rookie of the Year. If he's the Rookie of the Year, it's just more success for the Cardinals. We haven't had a Rookie of the Year in a long time. I think Todd Ware or Vince Coleman was. Oh, Albert Pujols, 2001. So, forgive me, Cardinal fans, but it'll be nice. It'll be nice if he could. I'm not putting too much on the kid. Just play your game, relax, and have a good time. I know the fans are going to be weighing almost on every at bat. He's not as good as they thought he was. Oh, this guy, they can't get him out. Just relax and let the kid play, and it's going to be fun. But I have Jordan Walker as the National League Rookie Year. And you mentioned him a while ago, but in the American League, I didn't even think of the Red Sox kid. I don't think of him as a kid. He's 29 years old. But I have Gunnar Henderson for the Baltimore Orioles. That organization, they were down for a while, but they're really coming on with a lot of good young players. And I think he's going to be one of the big pieces of the puzzle for them for a long time.
Okay. For Cy Young, I've liked this guy since he came up as a rookie. And he has already put some super years together. And I think this year he's going to be the ace of their staff. My Cy Young is Julio Urias for the Dodgers, the left-hander.
Ooh, good choice.
In the American League, I love this guy's makeup. I love his repertoire, and I just think that Garrett Cole is going to take the Cy Young this year.
Very good. Great minds think alike, Vince. I put Garrett Cole as my American League Cy Young Award winner as well. He's on a great team. I love watching him pitch. When he's pitching, it's must see TV. He had, nobody goes out and kills every single game, but he's about as good as anybody out there. And of course, the Yankees, every game seems like it's bigger than everybody else's. He always takes the ball and he usually goes against the other team's ace as well. And he's a fantastic pitcher.
He's a throwback. He would fit in very well with the 60s. He doesn't like the opponent.
No.
He's just got that mentality. I remember one year, I think it was 2016 when we won the World Series. The Cubs beat Cole, and a reporter asked him, something about, the Cubs being the class of the division, which they clearly were. He wouldn't admit it. He said, I don't think they're the class of the division. We are. Yeah, I just love that mentality, even though he was wrong.
Well, Garrett Cole, too, in baseball, there's a lot of failure. And when somebody hits a home run off him, you can tell he's not happy about it, but he keeps his composure and he goes out there and just battles. And I like that because there's a lot of times you're going to watch a third strike go by or you don't field your position as well. And he'll just get up there and he's always intense and goes after it. So I appreciate that. And my National League Cy Young, and I haven't seen anybody pick this guy, but I'm telling you what, this is a throwback guy too. He's young and he's on a team that's, I think it's a good pitcher's park, but Brandon Webb from the Giants. I love that kid. And he's the ace of the Giant team and he's fun to watch. Big old kid. And he gives you everything he has out there. So I thought I'd throw him some love for the Cy Young.
Yeah, I had for the National League, I had Alcantara and Urias as the two that I was debating. And I almost gave it to Alcantara, even though he's got a team that's got a lot more problems than the Dodgers. He likes to finish games. He pitches a lot of innings. But I just like Urias's makeup, and I just think he's ready to, he's matured to the age where he's going to take over the leadership of that staff. So, most valuable player. The Padres are going to win the World Series, and the most valuable player is going to be the guy who almost won it last year, Manny Machado.
Good choice.
In the American League, we're going to have a repeat of Aaron Judge, who's going to pop 55 home runs this year and carry that Yankee team to the division again.
All right. Vince out on a limb. I like that specific. There you go. Well, I have my American League MVP. Love this guy. I'd pay to see him anytime he's in town. Jose Ramirez from the Cleveland Guardians. I love that third baseman. He's an RBI machine. I thought that for a while he might not stay on that team, but I'm glad they've kept their best player. And it's good for the team and their fans to have that. So I like that. I like when a guy stays on a team and he's the face of that team. And he is definitely the face of Cleveland. Anyway, I got him, and I went outside the box. I think the National League MVP, if you can count defense, power, hitting, everything, is the third baseman from the Atlanta Braves, Riley. And I have them going to the World Series, and I think he's going to be the MVP. He's going to be one of the big reasons they do so well. Is I think he's just a top-notch player.
Well, JJ, I am going to take my two pieces of paper with my picks.
All right, I got mine.
Pin them up on the shelf right
Okay.
above my computer and leave them all year long, so I can see that I am not the smartest guy in the world, that I need some humility. And by September, I'm like, oh, yeah.
I guarantee you we'll be just as right as all those other experts out there. We'll do just as good as they do.
Yeah, I saw a deal, or maybe I heard it on a podcast, that a couple years ago when the Giants won all those games, like 108 games, I think Pacoda had them picked 178 games. So, so JJ, what are you opening?
I am opening. I have a pack of 2023s. This is the second pack of these I'll be opening. I love these new Topps cards. They're very, very nice. Let me get them all situated here. They've got some prizes in there. They have a contest in there where if you get a player, and if you can name, or they give you a date, and if they hit a home run on that date, you win some big prizes. So that's kind of cool.
Time out. Before we forget, you have to give hint number 3 for our contest.
All right. I was going to do that. I didn't know when we were going to do it. The Michael Walker bobblehead, 2014. That's the prize. We've had a lot of guesses. Nobody's gotten it right. So now each week, the clues are going to give you more specifics. So so far, this is what we have: a Cardinal hitter of prominence that played from 19.
Not BB Richards.
Not BB Richards, but man, I was thinking maybe one day we'll have a BB Thon. We'll do our whole show will be dedicated to BB Richards. We'll probably be out of here in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But for right now, a player of prominence, a Cardinal hitter that played from between 1970 and 2023, and it's an outfielder. Your third clue is, I'm going to shrink the years down now. He played between 1970 and the year 2000. So somewhere in that 30 years, this outfielder who was a hitter of prominence, and whoever answers the question right, me and Vince know the answer. Reach out to us. Whoever says it first wins the Michael Walker bobblehead, and I'll get it to you as soon as I can. So that's our contest. Our third. It's Cardinal, or it's Who Can It Be Now? That's what that's called.
Okay. And a little more trivia about BB Richards. Last week we found out that
I love this.
given name was Lee. What team did BB Richards break into the major leagues with?
It wasn't the Cardinals?
No.
Can I have one guess? I'm just going to say San Diego.
No.
All right. I give it.
Chicago White Sox.
The White Sox.
Why do I know too much about BB Richards?
I
But
think
everybody's out there like, who the hell is that?
I think that should be our spirit player, BB Richards. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna find something out about him. I'll find out. I'll find his TV show was Mannix or something. Well, here's the 2023s, and as I go through these, great pictures, a lot of stats on the back as always. I love tops. Yonder Alvarez from the Astros, right there, their big power hitter, very good player. Man, I love those cards. Let's see who else is in here. We just mentioned him. We always mention a player, and they show up in our cards, opening the cards. But
Weird.
Yeah. I tell you what, I know Atlanta misses this guy, but Dodger Freddie Freeman. There he is. Oh, Freddie Freeman, great player. They have their cards. This is let's see, National League ERA leaders, and you have your Urias is there, Alcantara, and an Atlanta Brave pitcher, and I can't quite. Oh, Max Fried. There it is, Max Fried. So that's the 3 National League ERA guys, and that's as last week Tony had that big board with all the league leaders on it. This is a Arizona Diamondback Caleb Smith, an action card. Well, my God. All right, right in my front of the face. There it goes. There it is. Very nice card. You know, back in the 60s, they didn't have many positions. They had their hands on their knees, or a bat on their shoulder, or a pitcher going like that. Now they got them doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah. This is a Colorado Rocky, Ryan McMahon.
Oh,
there he
one
is.
of the better players they have.
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you.
It's like saying Bo is the brainiest stooge.
They have a special feature in these Topps cards. It's a insignia of the team, and the face of the team they saying is Luis Roberts, and it's got this little emblem right there. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that looks cool. Few more here. Christian Javier, the Astro pitcher.
Yeah.
Right there. Very nice. Oh, yeah. Ex-Cardinal. And don't play fantasy league with Tommy Pham, or there's going to be some smacking going on right there. There he is with the Red Sox. And let's see. Well, the last one here I'm going to go over is stars of the MLB, and they have one from every team. And the Dodgers, I can't disagree with this. I think a future Hall of Famer here, Mookie Betts. Incredible player right there.
Yeah.
You know, if you were starting a team, that'd be a good player to have on your team right there. So that's the Topps 2023s right there.
Okay, I'm opening up the this is the 88 Donruss.
Ooh, yeah.
And once more, we have the puzzle piece with Stan the Man.
Oh, it looks like his knee or shoulder.
Knee, shoulder, or something. Yeah. Former second baseman for the Atlanta Braves, Glenn Hubbard.
I love Glenn Hubbard. Little spark plug of that team.
Former hitting coach for the Cubs. I think was he hitting coach for the Cardinals too, Chili Davis?
I don't think so.
And I know he was for the Cubs. I think the Red Sox too. Switch hitter, good outfielder. Became a designated hitter for that Twins team in '87 that won the world. No, in '91 that won the World Series. Former Cardinal Mike Spanky Lavalier.
Spanky, love him. Yeah.
If you wanted to place a wager, you went to Greg Booker.
He looks like he's up to no good.
Yeah. A decent outfielder for the Reds, Tracy Jones.
Yeah. Fourth outfielder.
Oh, and this man, not only was he an all-star catcher, he was married to the Hooters girl that used to be on the billboards in the 80s, Darren Dalton.
Darren Dalton. Bravo, Darren.
The late Ken Caminiti won an MVP for the Padres.
He one time had to take IV fluids. He was dehydrated and came back out and played. That's a hockey player, baseball type guy there.
Well, this is one of those. I mean, JJ's always a positive person, but he
Try to be.
hates this player. He cannot stand Willie McGee.
Oh, everybody loves Willie McGee.
Oh, and this guy, I can't believe his career was so short. Mr. Bill Long. Boy, these jokes are terrible. That's why you should come and see my stand-up show.
He's very
Oh,
good.
second generation of a three-generation family. Bob Boone, Gold Glove catcher for the Phillies.
All he did was win. He was always on a winner.
And I like this guy. He played for the Rangers, then he went to the National League and played for the Phillies, and they had him in the outfield, and he really couldn't move, but he had a lot of power. Pete Incaviglia.
I seen him flip over the side wall one time at Busch Stadium. Made people spill their beers.
And this guy was a rated rookie, John Meyer.
Don't know him.
Yeah, all right.
I like the hat.
Yeah, I have like cards on the floor here that I've thrown. Get disappointed. Former Expo Tom Foley.
Oh yes, yeah, nice player.
Oh, and here's a guy who wrote a book and once tried to catch a ball with his head and banged it over the wall. Jose Canseco.
Yeah, a 30-30 or was he 40-40 man?
First 40-40 man.
I'll be darned.
Uh,
He dated Madonna.
Yeah.
Vince, I think you dated Madonna too, didn't you? Everybody did.
I dated Madonna about the time Jose did. She's dated about 8 of us at the time. So, and a former pitcher who's went on to become a very successful manager, Bud Black.
Oh yeah, I like that guy.
All right, well, tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow's the day.
So hopefully the Cubs don't get rained out. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to be parked on the deck watching some baseball tomorrow and just living the dream. And it's seriously, opening day is my favorite time of the year. It is my favorite day of the year. Aside from my kids' birthdays and my anniversary, opening day is like it supersedes Christmas and everything else. I just love the feeling of opening day. So
I don't know about you, Vince, but I'm a kind of a superstitious person. If the Cardinals are scoring runs, I set in a certain spot of the room. If the Cardinals, if they're on a winning streak, I don't change hats. I wear the same hat. And if they lose, I switch hats. You know, I try to get the new mojo going. If I'm eating something and they're winning, that's what I'm gonna. I'm like Wade Boggs. I'll have the chicken again. I know that has nothing to do with it, but it makes me feel better and my little help to the team. So
this is what I'm going to do this year when the opponent is batting. Going to Danhausen them.
Oh, you're going to Danhausen them. Oh yeah, very good.
Very nice, very evil. Yes. So if you're not a wrestling fan, you have no idea what I'm talking about. So. All right. Well, JJ, you enjoy opening day.
You too, sir.
We will talk next week and let everybody know how excited we still are because it will only be the first week of April and we'll still be in it. So
it's only just begun.
That's right. All right. You all have a great opening day. Bye-bye.